Welcome to the Lip Club, where we bring virtual reality into reality.
Today we're discussing Pearl.
I cannot believe that Adam McKay's daughter made a VR piece. That little landlord's got to be, 13 by now? I want my money!
No, Eve, it's not Adam McKay's daughter.
Though it is weirdly, fathers be good to your daughters. Daughters will love like you do.
What? Only 2 lines?
Well, the next line is about moms. And there's no mother of Pearl.
Who needs Adam McKay and Will Ferrell?
Not Google's Advanced Technology and Projects Group, who produced Pearl along with Evil Eye Pictures.
Patrick Osborne, who has an art background, directed the animated piece.
And they hired Alexis Hart and JJ Weissler to write an original song. I don't sing spoilers.
Oh.
It's called No Wrong Way Home, and you'll hear it in the clip.
Wait, so Pearl is an experience where music is integral to the story, but it's not a musical?
Totally.
Huh.
That's one of the many interesting things about Pearl, which was produced in 2016.
Ooh, that's early days of VR narrative. I produced my VR musical in 2017.
Yeah, Pearl was an example of how to overcome many VR filmmaking challenges.
Compared to traditional filmmaking.
And Pearl is what? An embodied third-person narrative non-entity mortal experience?
Ooh. The mortal part is up for debate.
Ooh, debate!
Bring it! I guess we will just have to watch it and see.
Okay, ladies, are you ready? Start your headsets, open your apps, and
Enter
VR!
Okay, September 4th, take 2. No Wrong Way Home.
I hope your dream don't feel small. And when the wind begins to rise, I hope your mast stands straight and tall. These are fragile times, we blur the lines. In the unlikeliest of places, we all find a little grace. There's no wrong way home. One winter coat, 2 wild eyes.
so what did we think?
Oh, I definitely got choked up.
Me too.
Pearl presented a clear story with a beginning, middle, and end.
When Sarah's dad handed her the guitar when she was a kid and she started busking, it felt like an integral part of the story.
They did a great job using sound in the storytelling.
When we're in the car with them, the music is like soundtrack. And then when they're busking, it becomes source sound.
And the dialogue didn't fight with the soundtrack. It added color to the story.
And there was very little dialogue.
What dialogue there was acted more like soundtrack. It added texture rather than broadcasting information.
Because the car wouldn't understand English anyway.
What now?
Oh, well, I think we're the car. I mean, the whole film is seen from inside the car, and we're not seated in the passenger seat.
Yeah, if we were, we should have started out facing the windshield like a passenger, but instead, we started out facing the driver's seat.
We're a little higher than a person sitting in a seat, hovering just above the parking brake.
That speaks to the effectual point of view of the piece, non-entity.
We weren't meant to be a person in the story, or have an impact,
We're just there.
without a body. But didn't you say this is an embodied third-person experience?
Yes, and that speaks not to an actual body, but to whether the visual point of view expresses the narrative point of view.
Whether they match.
Yeah, the idea of embodied third-person narrative is that you're not really in the story world, but just sort of magically spying on it.
And that's true for how the storyline is presented to you and how you're seeing the world through your own eyes.
Well, that point of view felt fine when it was just the dad and the daughter in the car. But then,
When the band got in,
and her very large bandmate sat in the front seat of the car, and I felt kind of crowded.
it was uncomfortable. Sort of like you were sitting on the lap of a stranger.
Yeah. Also, my visual field of view was just too full with another character. Almost like an unintentional extreme close-up.
It is so important for filmmakers to remember that even though their vision of the viewer in the experience may not have a body, the viewer is still a person that has a body.
And they need to respect that.
Because the viewer will still react like a person when you invade their personal space.
For 95% of the time, Pearl was respectful of me and I felt like I was meant to be there.
But in that one moment, they forgot us.
In that moment, I felt like an intruder. Otherwise, they did incredible world building.
Even down to the Christmas decorations inside the car.
And there was always something to meet my eye wherever I looked. The world was full and I never felt lost.
And even though I could experience success with the band, all I really wanted to do was just turn around and look at the joy in the dad's face.
I love that the director trusted the story like that, created this world, and then let you live in it. The emotional power of the story directed your view, not the frame.
Yeah, as I alluded to, in 2016, Pearl was looked to for what worked for VR filmmaking, specifically with how to move the camera.
But the camera doesn't move. We're in the car the whole time.
And that's kind of exactly it. It's movement in VR that's effective and not distracting. I mean, we're basically moving the entire piece and you don't get nauseous.
Because we're in a car, or are a car, we accept the outside movement. It follows the laws of physics.
Right. Newton's first law.
An object in motion stays in motion.
Unless acted upon by an outside force.
So when we're the viewer in Pearl, our experience would follow the laws of physics if we were sitting in the passenger seat.
Wait, don't tell me that saying physics are going to work different depending on where you're positioned.
No, but our relationship to physics changes depending on how we're positioned. And it's our relationship to physics that determines our experiential point of view.
Robot, mortal, and deity.
The great debate.
So, if we have mortal experiential view in a piece, that means that our experience is like that of a person in that it follows the laws of the physical universe.
In the experience, we can do things that we could conceivably do in the real world.
Like, we couldn't see the world from inside someone else's head, but we can look wherever we want.
Yes. Or control our own movements.
So if the viewer in Pearl were sitting in a passenger seat and moving with the car, that would be consistent with a mortal point of view.
Yes.
I move with my car when I'm sitting in a seat.
But in Pearl, we're not sitting in a seat.
And if something, say a ball, is tossed up in a car moving at 60 miles an hour, splat.
Newton's first law of motion, the ball had no forward movement and would stay that way until acted upon by an outside force. The back windshield, or Erika's forehead.
And if we are the non-entity viewer in Pearl and we are suspended in midair and we are moving in the car at the same speed as the car,
With a relative velocity of 0,
we are defying the laws of physics, which tell us that we shouldn't be moving unless something is physically acting on us.
by pushing us with its seat.
Or back windshield.
And if we are defying the laws of physics, then we don't have mortal experiential point of view.
Something outside of the story universe is controlling our movement.
We have robot point of view.
My hunch that it wasn't mortal was right.
Correct.
What if we are the car? Or like a dangly bob hanging off the rearview mirror?
If you were a dangly bob, well, then you'd be tethered to the car, so physics would still explain your forward movement.
And if we were the car itself, I mean, the piece is named Pearl, and the car is a shimmery white.
Physics would also explain your forward movement, so mortal for both.
But as the car, I'd be controlled by someone else, the driver. So wouldn't that then be a robot?
No, because you would be being controlled by someone inside the story world, and that complies with the laws of the physical universe.
It's weird. You'd think if I were a hunk of metal, I'd be more likely to be a robot POV. And if I was floating, I'd be deity.
No, it has to do with physics, not physical attributes.
Which is why it is not easy to determine an experience's XR POV from outside the experience.
Or by just reading about it.
It's also why the taxonomy is so important. Because when somebody does use it, you can understand the nuances of the experience by just reading about it.
Or, watching a digital series about it.
So maybe we're the spirit of the car. I guess spirits kind of defy physics. But you know what doesn't? A thumb roll.
1 3/4 thumbs up.
So to summarize, Pearl is an embodied third-person narrative, non-entity robot experience.
And it's effective because it's well directed and makes good use of the space, sound, and story world.
And because it's a moving, well-structured experience that is simply, cleverly, and visually told.
And because its chosen immersive point of view works remarkably well, with one brief exception.
To learn more about Pearl and how and where to find it, visit our website, thelook.club.
Until next time,
Life's a song.
so sing along.
Even though you may not know where it's going.
I hope your dream don't feel small.
And when the
And when the wind begins to rise, I stand straight and tall. These are fragile times.